stay here.
If you go out
to the ocean front, which is going to suffer a lot of erosion.
3 hours.
You have seen up to a foot of snow so far across Washington, D.C., still coming down at this hour. By the time it's over, we could see a storm of historic proportion. And it's been coming down in Philadelphia as well. Tonight, probably a foot of snow on the ground. Hello and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Kristen Dodd, and thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, we are in alert mode here at the Weather Channel as this President's Day storm kicks into overdrive, and we are expecting some very heavy snowfall to come into many major cities across the Northeast. Here's a look at what we can expect with Washington, D.C. picking up possibly 2 feet of snow through Tuesday morning. New York City, 10 to 15 inches. Philly, a couple of feet possible for you. Boston, not as much, but it definitely is going to be on the way. So 6 inches of snowfall in your forecast. And our Mike Seidel brings us now an update on how hard that snow has been coming down across the nation's capital.
Wind-driven snow continues to pile up in Washington at midday on Sunday. So far, anywhere from 8 to 12 inches in the D.C. metro area. And the visibility has been very poor. Behind me on the Capitol Mall, back towards the Washington Monument, 3/4 of a mile. We haven't seen the monument all day long. We may not see it till Monday afternoon. We pan around. Very few people out here. We've got some dogs out here. We've got some cross-country skiers and a few tourists who made it to town. Smithsonian Institution is closed today. We'll come around here to 3rd Street and look off towards the Capitol. And once again, because of the very heavy snow, the visibility is down below 1/4 of a mile. We can't even see that far from 3rd Street. As far as the impact, roadways are a mess. The BW Parkway has been closed most of Sunday morning. Just about everything in D.C. and the surrounding areas, D.C. and Baltimore, shut down today, including most church services. And if you're thinking about flying, forget it. Reagan National is likely closed probably until Monday. And there's been very little air traffic out of Dulles. They've been trying to keep one runway open there. BWI Airport was shut down most of Sunday morning. About the only way out of town is Amtrak. Everything looks good over there. Mike Seidel, the Weather Channel in Washington.
Now let's bring in our winter weather expert, Paul Cosin. And Paul, of course, the big three, Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, are all getting hit with this storm. How would you compare this event over storms we've seen in this region?
Well, the storm still hasn't finished yet, so right now it doesn't compare at the time being.
However, if it continues at this pace, which is actually quite likely, the only thing that could go wrong is possibly some sleet mixing in and keeping down the accumulations. We are expecting a storm that really would be quite similar to February 1983, probably not as much as the blizzard of '96, but one of the great storms probably of the decade, certainly across the mid-Atlantic states, that it already will be. The ingredients coming together are, of course, bitterly cold temperatures associated with the 1047 high. That's a very strong high this time of year. Sub-zero cold across New England. That's allowed extremely cold air to mix with the snowfall and produce some biting wind chills this morning. Winds are only about 10 to 20 miles per hour in the places experiencing the heavy snow, so at least we're not seeing the very strong winds that would prompt blizzard conditions, but the combination of cold temperatures and heavy snow certainly creates dangerous conditions over a very large area, and this is the snowfall accumulation just through Monday afternoon. The storm will continue to move up along the coast during the day on Monday into Tuesday. Snow will be ending in New York by Monday night and be ending in Boston not until Tuesday morning. So main reason this is going to be a big storm is an extremely slow-moving storm. Here we can see it coming on the satellite imagery, and we can just see the scope of the storm is just very large. A lot of moisture continuing to flow up above the areas that are below freezing, so the Carolinas up into Virginia, New York, and New England are going to be in for quite a time of it. Even if the snow changes to sleet in some places, temperatures are only going to be in the teens at best, and it's still going to be hazardous driving, if not impossible driving, for much of the mid-Atlantic states in the Ohio Valley and South Atlantic states too. Kristen?
Let's talk about New York City. Looking at their forecast, when do you anticipate it really getting going there, and when's it going to end?
Well, right now the snow hasn't even made it up to Trenton, New Jersey yet, so they still have a time before the snow really starts later this evening. The heaviest snow will be falling overnight and during the day tomorrow, and certainly an 8 to 12 inch fall at the very minimum is a likelihood at this point.
All right, thank you very much. Our winter weather expert, Paul Cosin, a very busy man here on this President's Day weekend. Now let's show you what else is happening across the country, including the southeast, where we also are going to see not only stronger thunderstorms, but other winter-like problems with freezing rain possible coming into Raleigh, Charlotte. You're going to see some very thick ice on not only in the roadways and bridges and overpasses, but also on the power lines. Now we also have flash flood watches due to heavy rain that fell yesterday across Tennessee and also into Kentucky, and windy conditions now entering Jacksonville with thunderstorms blowing through your area, heading on down toward Daytona, so you need to be on guard for that. Of course, we do have the Daytona 500 taking place today, and some stronger thunderstorms will be possible looking farther off to the south. You can see that line of lightning from Jacksonville, Ocala, possibly heading on down toward Tampa later on today. And in Tampa, that's where we find some warm air. 72 this hour. Orlando looking at 80 degrees. Your forecast for your Monday, that rain ending early and then clearing conditions.
PM.